അടുത്ത ഷെന, ഇന്ത്യൻ ജുഡീഷ്യറിയുടെ ഇൻഡിപെൻഡൻസ് അതൊരു സമഗ്ര ചർച്ചയ്ക്ക്, വളരെ കൂലങ്കഷമായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു ചർച്ചയ്ക്ക് വിധേയമാക്കേണ്ട കൃത്യമായ സമയമാണ് ഇത് എന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നത്. ഉപരാഷ്ട്രപതിയുടെ പരാമർശത്തെ താങ്കൾ എങ്ങനെ നോക്കിക്കാണുന്നു?
ഇതിൽ രണ്ട് മൂന്ന് ആസ്പെക്ട്സ് ഉണ്ട്. വി ആർ മിക്സിംഗ് ഓൾ ദീസ് ആസ്പെക്ട്സ്. The first aspect is about interpretation of constitution. That interpretation of constitution by the constitution itself is the duty of the Supreme Court. So what the Supreme Court has done is interpreting a constitutional provision, which it has done. Second aspect in the Article 142 the user. Article 142 the use on probably it rubbed the shoulders in a wrong way. And then the Supreme Court was dealing with governors and presidents. So even when you interpret constitution and leave it there. But the moment you use your power under 142 to say that as a consequence of this, to do complete justice, we will do this. In the parayumbol, what you have basically done is you have shown the other part, the legislature, the executive, that I am the superpower. The judiciary has given a clear signal that they are the superpower. Avadeyana, that is the place where something has gone wrong. Plus, you have to contextualize everything. When the Vice President says something, he is saying it from the background of what has happened a month before in the judiciary, where money and currency notes are found in the house of a sitting judge. And that stark difference, our sitting judge in the veed alla, other mantrida veedu polum aanengil polum or FIR register avayam. Even if it is a Prime Minister's house, FIR would be registered. Why is an FIR not being registered when it comes from the house of a judge? That is what is rubbing. So we are mixing 2 or 3 aspects together and then seeing this entire exercise as wrong. But I would like to clearly signal one aspect of it. Why is judiciary powerful? Judiciary is powerful because of the faith of people in the judicial system. ആ ഫെയ്ത്ത് എന്നാണോ നഷ്ടപ്പെടുന്നത്, അന്ന് ജുഡീഷ്യറി ശൂന്യമാകും. That judiciary has to realize, when you say that I am the most powerful person on this earth, your behavior also should be of that standard. ആ സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് ഇല്ലാത്തപ്പോഴാണ് പ്രോബ്ലം വരുന്നത്. Then what will happen? What are you trying to say? Parliament is people's power. Brute majority, brute parliament. No problem. But our parliament, if I have an issue with a politician, I have a right and I have a power to change him in the next 5 years. But do I as a citizen have a power to change a judge of this country? A High Court judge or a Supreme Court judge of this country? Can a common man, can a citizen change or ask for a dismissal of a judge? That is the place where the whole issue comes. But interpreting the constitution, I don't see anything wrong. And then adinekattu nalloru example parnadam. Sanction to prosecute. Sanction to prosecute in Subramanian Swamy versus Manmohan Singh. Supreme Court says sanction to prosecute deemed sanction under if you don't give it within 120 days. So very simple provision. So there it was acceptable to us because that was helping to fight corruption. So there nobody questions the Supreme Court. Whereas when it comes to bills, why are we questioning Supreme Court when it has interpreted the constitution? And then Varnal, again, let me put the bigger picture on to the audience. This is this. ഞങ്ങളുടെ constitutional, there is 3 lists: the state list, the central list, and the consolidated, the list where both state and center can pass laws. Now, please understand, if the state is passing some laws under the powers given to the state list, and the governor is appointed by the center, without anything, they can torpedo a bill. Without anything, they can take away the power of state to make a legislation at all. Therefore, I do not see anything wrong when the Supreme Court interprets as soon as possible to be 3 months. But then comes the question, should Supreme Court also have used 142 to back this thing, saying that no, we are most powerful. This, I am going one step ahead from interpreting constitution. I am declaring myself as the superpower and saying that, to do complete justice, I am doing something more than that. Pinna varuna oru chodyam, it is a substantial question of law, no doubt about it. If it is a substantial question of law, what does Article 145.3 point out? Article 145.3 clearly says that when it is a substantial question of law, the minimum number of judges shall be 5. Shall be 5. Apo, there are technical issues also along with it. So I would say that the Supreme Court was right in interpreting law. Probably the Supreme Court was not right in declaring its powers under 142. And what you should see, the statement made by Vice President comes from this context. It is not just Vice President who made this statement. ഞങ്ങൾ എല്ലാവരും Vice President's statementil മാത്രം പിടിക്കുകയാണ്. ഇതിനെക്കാട്ടും മുന്നേ വേറൊരു സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ് വന്നിരുന്നു. That came from Mamata Banerjee when she said, you with a stroke of pen removed 25,000 teachers, saying that the teacher's appointment is wrong, wherein you didn't even see there may be eligible candidates who have been appointed by the procedure, but you are not doing the same for the judiciary. So the first attack on the judiciary came from Mamata Banerjee. Then came Vice President's statement, but Vice President's statement comes from a central authority. Therefore, it has caught our attention. But when Mamata Banerjee gave the same statement, nobody bothered to hear her. It was a small one-liner in a newspaper. But this is where it is. ഞങ്ങളെല്ലാം കോണ്ടെക്സ്റ്റുവലൈസ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴാണ് ഒരു കാര്യം ശരിയാണോ തെറ്റാണോ എന്ന് തോന്നുന്നത്. But what the Supreme Court did by interpreting the Constitution is something absolutely legal. Yes, there may be a legal challenge because we should see the rules of the Supreme Court itself, where the minimum number of judges for interpretation of a substantial question involving the interpretation of Constitution is 5 judges. So in those cases, whether this bench could have passed this judgment or not is something very questionable.